poll on a few topics, and the one that all of you voted the most was how I failed to become a digital nomad and why. Okay. And so basically, before that, some of you asked, about this handbag, and you're like, is it like Hermes? Is it like a brand? And I'm sorry to disappoint you. It's not. It's just a standard supermarket Duns bag. And the reason why it's there, it's not very special. I mean, it's special because someone gifted it to me. But the reason why I've stuck it there is because I don't own that many handbags and I use it often. Okay, so I'm sorry to disappoint. It's not Hermes, but that's I use a handbag all the time. It's from Duns. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about the time I failed to become a digital nomad. And as if you've been following my journey, you know that I travel a lot and I work, and so you can class me as a digital nomad in some ways because I travel, I'd say 6 months a year while working. And I had to fail to become one to then become one. Okay, so I remember sitting in my corporate job, looking at the window, thinking, I wish I could travel and earn. I wish I could have the freedom to work when I want, where I want. I wish I could become a digital nomad. I remember that. I remember writing it down, saying, "How do I do this? How do I travel and earn?" And I had nobody I knew that did it. Actually, the only people I knew that were doing it were coders or programmers, and I know jack all about tech. Okay, I run 6 blogs, but I'm terrible at tech. So if I can do that, you can too. Okay, and so I don't know if you can relate to this, but everybody I knew who was working remotely or become a digital nomad, they were really good at tech. And so I didn't see around me anybody who had my skills, my experience working remotely. Now, because of the pandemic, many more people can do it, right? Many more people have done it. But at the time, this was when 2017, people weren't doing it. But let me share the mistakes I made and the time when I wanted to become a digital nomad, the mistake I made. So, story time. What happened was, because I had no idea what I was doing, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Chiang Mai because I probably saw an ad somewhere, somebody selling a digital nomad course and or being on a laptop in Chiang Mai. And Chiang Mai was the hub, apparently. I don't know where I learned this, but apparently everybody who was working remotely or being a digital nomad was in Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai was a hotspot. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Chiang Mai. And that was my plan. My entire plan was I'm going to go to Chiang Mai. And so at the time, I was still working a corporate job. And so I booked it on my holiday. So I booked some time off at work and I packed my bag and my laptop and off I went to Chiang Mai. And I stayed at a hostel. And I remember I was sitting in a cafe, right? So I was sitting in there's probably a picture of me on my laptop looking like I'm a digital nomad, but I'm so far from it. Just shows you, my friends, Instagram is a scam, okay? Just let you know. I probably had a picture up there, me and my laptop in the cafe, putting hashtag working, but I wasn't working. What I was doing was observing old mate on my right there. I remember he was like on his laptop and he was totally a digital nomad and he was on his laptop and he was doing programming, right? And I remember looking at him thinking, wow, he is totally working and getting paid to travel and he's like living my dream. And I just didn't know how to get from me sitting drinking coffee, stuck in my corporate job on a vacation with my laptop. What was my laptop doing? Nothing, just there, right? But I wanted to feel how it felt to become a digital nomad. I didn't know how to get from there, from where I was, to that guy's programming, earning while living in Chiang Mai, right? So, mind you, he could have just been playing video games for all I know, right? We never know. And so the thing that I made the mistake was, so what I did was I just sat there and just soaked it all in. I was like, well, if I was working remotely, this is how it must feel. And it felt amazing. And then I went to my hostel and I was like, maybe I'll make some contacts there who can introduce me to, how to become a digital nomad. And the thing is, because I was living la vida broca and how much money, I booked a really cheap hostel. And people there were just interested in partying. They didn't want to work. They were out there all night partying and gate crashing the hostel, and good for them, you know. And so, to be honest, there was no plan, and I didn't succeed in becoming a digital nomad at all. I remember feeling a bit like lost. I remember thinking, so I'm in Chiang Mai. I went to a cafe. I saw a digital nomad, but where are all these nomads? Where are all these people I can learn from? Where are all these hot events that people I can speak to that can teach me? And I went home, totally failed as a digital nomad, and feeling really dejected and disappointed that, hey, maybe it's not for me. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's a sign. And I know a lot of people think when things don't go wrong, it's a sign. Actually, it's a universe testing you to really see if you want it hard as much as you say you do. Because if you really want it, you won't give up. It's the universe saying, hey, giving you a little push. Like, do you really want it? You sure you want this goal? Okay, so show me, prove it to me. So I want to share what I should have done. It now with the benefit of hindsight and experience, working a digital nomad, what I would have done if if I could turn back time. Number one, I would have definitely gone to a co-working space. I would have cafes are nice, but cafes are businesses, right? The people there may not even be working. They might want to chill out and drink coffee and take selfies, right? But I would have gone to a dedicated co-working space because everyone there is working remotely, okay? And just in Chiang Mai, there's plenty of co-working spaces. So with the benefit of hindsight, number one, if you're looking to become a digital nomad, you want to just you have no contacts and you just want to start and you are doing what I want to do, you want to go to Chiang Mai. Okay, step one, go to a co-working space because you're more likely to meet people who are working remotely and are digital nomads there. Number one, that's what I would do. Number two, I would have joined a conference because I know Chiang Mai and I know Vietnam and all, many of these wonderful places. They actually have conferences like SEO conferences. They have networking conferences. They have skills like conferences teaching you skills, digital marketing, Facebook ads. I would have probably joined a conference just so I can A, learn a skill, and two, B, learn and network with other people there who are likely in my position, or they're already one step further and they want to upskill. So I would Google events in Chiang Mai or like digital nomad events or a skill. I'm sure Meetup has it. Eventbrite must have it. There's loads of events which I would have been able to upskill and then meet people. Then number two. Number three, what I should have done is join Facebook groups. Okay, there are plenty of amazing Facebook groups out there. Side note, me joining this is a side story. Me joining a Facebook group in Barcelona when I first got there led to me meeting my husband now. Okay, long story. If you want to know the story, mention it in the comments. So, okay, number three was Facebook groups. So I probably would have joined like digital. If I was going Chiang Mai, I would have joined Digital Nomad Chiang Mai. I would have joined co-workers Chiang Mai, travel bloggers Chiang Mai, and I would have joined these Facebook groups in advance. I would have lurked around just when I just watched and learned, and then I'd probably start commenting, and maybe if I made friends, virtual friends, maybe I would have asked if I could meet up. Maybe I would have seen if there's a meetup. I would have joined that, but I would have definitely joined Facebook groups in advance to my trip to see if there's any people I could make friends with or meet up with. People are lovely; they always want to share. So that's number three. I would have joined Facebook groups, and number four, I would have probably gone for, depending on the budget, of course, because I didn't have the budget at the time, but I would have probably gone to a more upmarket hostel because people who are working, as somebody who is digital nomad now, I don't want to stay in a crappy hostel where I can't get sleep because I'm working in the day, right? So I would probably nowadays I book, if I'm going to stay in a hostel, I book a more upmarket one that has good Wi-Fi, that has places to work. I would have done that, or I would have checked out other hostels anyway. And what I would have done is I would have gone to other hostels and seen there on in other hostels they have event boards. They might say like Taco Tuesday, Salsa Thursday, and joined some events in other hostels because clearly the hostel I was in was quite a young crowd. And just because I booked it doesn't mean I have to stay, right? I can ask for a refund and then go elsewhere. So I think I would have, with the benefit of hindsight, I would have checked out a different, more upmarket hostel. I would have gone to a different hostel, or I would have stayed in my hostel and joined the events of other hostels. And so ultimately, I'm thinking about it now. So I went back disappointed. So those are sort of four things that I would have done differently. If you're thinking, I want to be a digital nomad. I want to know how it feels. And you booked a trip to Bali, and you just want to sit there sipping coconuts on your laptop, just to see how it feels. I encourage that because I truly believe our thoughts become our actions, right? And so I was trying to embody my thoughts and say, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I'm going to take the action and try and explore. And certainly me doing that, me continuously trying and failing and trying and failing led to me being able to achieve the goal I wanted, right? But I think ultimately, instead of, I came back and was disappointed, ultimately I realized you don't actually need to rely on others as much as we think we do. Like there's this whole thing about networking. You gotta network, network, network. I'm actually not that great at networking. Um, I like people like me, but work very well alone. And I don't really like to use people. I don't want to ask favors from people. That's not networking is, by the way. But it's like I just feel like I'd rather work alone, okay? And I do have friends in the industry, but I very much operate as a solopreneur, okay? And so I realized actually that I don't really need to for anybody to give me a job. I don't That would be amazing if they did. But actually I was able to create my own jobs, my own luck. And what I did instead was I wanted to become a digital nomad was I actually Googled it and looked online and I took a course. I took a course that upskilled me to become a proofreader. Then I took a course to teach me how to become a freelance writer, and I pitched to clients. And I didn't have any contacts, and I was able to um, find those clients by myself. So if you're watching this and you think, "Oh, I don't have any contacts, I can't afford to go to Bali and lean into this experience," it's okay. It's totally okay because actually you don't need all that. That's all nice to have, right? What you need is good work ethic, and you need to put yourself out there and keep trying. I would recommend pick one area you want to focus on, pick a course that you can do. If you don't know what course, message me on Instagram. We can talk about courses that are good that I took, and focus and keep on pitching and applying and looking for jobs, and eventually you'll get there. And you don't really need to do all these networking and going to all these places. If you do, great, it's nice. So I hope that helps. I hope that experience, my failed experience, has helped you learn what not to do. And I hope that if that's your dream, if you want to travel the world and earn and be free, it's entirely possible, especially now since COVID happened, right? So I wish you lots of luck. Keep me posted. I'd love to hear if you managed to make it happen. Thanks for watching.